All businesses, no matter what you sell, want positive reviews. On top of positive reviews, especially for service businesses, we need testimonials. The problem with a testimonial video or even text-based is that it's cherry-picked and it's typically glorifying the business. It doesn't take into consideration what you did with the client. It only talks about you. So I want to flip this on its head. I think this is the direction, actually I know this is the direction B2B should go, which is the client interview. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I would execute that and how we've been executing it to drive more leads, more prospects, and ultimately more revenue. B2B podcasts are dead. You've heard me say it, you've heard my competitors say it, and maybe even somebody else on your team has mentioned that podcasts seem to die off. Some of them will tell you that, oh, we used to have a cool idea for a podcast, but it's all been done before. What I'd like to do is introduce you to the easiest way to create a B2B podcast, especially a B2B interview podcast. Now, a lot of people are gonna say podcasts are dead, podcasts are dying. This is true. Over 90% of podcasts simply just fall off. It's same with businesses. In a 10-year span, any podcast or any business is probably not going to be there anymore. I mean, literally take your local strip mall, right? How many different businesses have cycled through that strip mall over the years? That's just business. But let's get back down to podcasting. So when it comes to B2B content, everything is changing, yet everything's still exactly the same. I know this because when I was 13 years old, I was creating YouTube videos. And what do I do to draw in clients now? I create YouTube videos. So the fundamentals have not changed, right? YouTube has always worked. Whether it was getting 100,000 views on a gaming video or if it was getting a lead from YouTube about B2B podcasting, the fundamentals are still the same. But back to the podcast. So the easiest podcast that you can start is a podcast that involves people who already have the big three. You probably know what I'm about to say. Know, like, and trust. These three things are what you need for somebody to buy something from you, right? They have to know who you are. They have to like you as a person, typically, and they have to trust you. They have to trust that you're gonna do what you say you're going to do. The people who already know, like, and trust you are not just your family or your friends, hopefully your friends, or your coworkers or your team, but your clients. These are people who you've already served. These are people who are already indoctrinated into your philosophy and way of thinking, right? Take us, for example. All of our clients believe in organic content or else they wouldn't be working with us, right? So that philosophy, I know that they share that philosophy. And you can do this with your business too. I wish B2B would not overcomplicate everything. I also wish it wasn't this boring. And I'm trying to bring a new flavor to it if I can. And you can do that through a podcast. What I'm suggesting you do is interview your clients. This is the flip on the traditional testimonial video. Now let's think about a testimonial video. These days it looks like this. Jeff he was great. We worked through my offer and he helped me figure out exactly what I needed to do. And if you're even hesitating at all, make sure you hire Jeff. He's the best. That's good. That's good. That's what if you could get a video testimonial, more power to you, okay? But what that is it's cherry picking. It's going to people who we know already love you and you're asking them to talk about how much they love you and your service. And that's good, right? But it's not all the way there. It doesn't give you the full picture. It also barely ever explains what you actually did, the details, right? So a client interview is going to be a 20 to 45 minute testimonial, but it's not going to be cherry picked, meaning that your client is not going to go into detail with what you did with them. They're going to go into detail with what worked for them, right? Because what you do for a client is not all they do. What you do with them is one component of their entire strategy. And for somebody who is looking around, searching for that next vendor, that next partner, or that next company to hire to help them, they need to know how you're gonna fit into the bigger picture of their business. And so when you do a client interview, like the many client interviews that we've done, I wish I had more examples to show you because I really don't. I don't know many other people who've do client interviews as podcast episodes and publish them. I'm gonna go into how that's a bigger part of our content strategy as well. But I know for sure if you go and do this, there's a reason why our client interviews are some of our most successful content on LinkedIn right now. You can go to the post. This clip from this podcast episode that you're watching right now will probably not perform as well as my other videos of client interviews. Now allow me to let you into the funnel in a little bit of a deeper way. Our content strategy is three-pronged. 1/3 of it is client interviews. You'll see that all over our podcast and our YouTube. The other third is solo videos just like this. You're most likely not watching this on YouTube. You're probably watching it as a clip on LinkedIn. If you are watching it on YouTube, I love you. I appreciate you. We're really trying to get the YouTube up. Number 3, we have co-hosted episodes. That's with my partner Jack in this business, who does the other side of the business. He does coaching and he does the production management while I do the sales and marketing. So that is our three-prong approach, and the client interviews sit at the bottom of that content, right? This is not a lead magnet. This is literally prospect education at scale. And that is what a client interview is going to do for you. I will have a solo video or a co-hosted video that kind of sits at the bottom to the middle of the funnel, right? That's getting people aware of the concept, but it's probably not gonna hard sell anybody. Then you have people towards the bottom. Those are our client interviews. Those are our clients telling you not only how they worked with us, but how working with us worked for them. And on top of it, all of the other things to consider that you're just not going to get in that 1-minute testimonial video with the phone like this. And while they're good and they do help you book calls and sell, they don't really tell a prospect much about you or your service. So if you're considering adding some video content, especially, do not leave out the client interview. The point of it is not to get hundreds, thousands, or millions of views. The point of it is to provide a perspective that you as the service provider cannot provide. It's to provide the client perspective. And if you don't have the client perspective in your business, in your content strategy right now, you're probably losing to somebody who does. My name is Ryan Sullivan, founder of Podcast Principles. I thoroughly hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking to do this, whether it's client interviews, co-hosted podcasts, solo podcasts, and you want to develop a unique podcast that doesn't only drive revenue, but is also entertaining, that's where we come in. We are podcast coaches and podcast strategists, and that is our specialty. So I always have the link to book a call in the description or the show notes of all of these podcasts and videos to make sure you hit that if you're ready to go. I really appreciate you and keep making great content. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the newly improved Ryan Sullivan Show. Now, since this podcast has changed, I want to get some new people in here in this kind of new ecosystem, whether it's business, entrepreneurship, podcasting, social media content. So if you know anybody who likes content like this, maybe they're just starting their brand, make sure to share it with them. That's the only thing I'm going to ask you to do here. You know the deal. If you've listened once, make sure to hit that follow and subscribe if you actually enjoyed. And finally, really would mean a lot if you could share this with at least one person so we can continue to help people grow and launch their business and their podcast. Okay, I'll catch you next week.